Hello and welcome to the Playground Experience. I got my co-host here, Kathy D and April Williams. I don't know how I end up down at the bottom, but that's all right. Starting from the bottom, now we here. Starting from the bottom, now my whole team. I ain't gonna say the curse word because I don't want them to censor the place. So welcome again. She moved me. Thank you. Because I like I don't used to be on
To
the
make it more complicated when we try to point at each other, I'm going to keep moving it throughout the show. So stay tuned, folks.
Oh my God, I was
Like,
about to say
Don't do that to me. I mean, it's bad
like,
enough
share,
as
and
it is because
subscribe.
when I point this way, which would be the correct way here, so now I've got. Yeah, don't do that to me.
Who's the one
Oh, okay.
at the boxes like that and they be pointing and all that stuff? What
Lots of
show?
people.
What TV show used to do that? They used to point in the box. And this lovely lady. No, I'm just playing. Anyway, who did that the box thing? But anyway, so now here we go. Tonight we're going to talk about manifestation. We know that we got the 222 that is coming up for us, and this is one we're talking about mastery. But we also know it's about a time of a manifestation as well. So it's a really big thing as far as we want to kind of touch upon that tonight to kind of get us prepared for these portals and its opening. And we know even with the portals, I'm getting also you got 2 days in. It's telling me 2 days in and 3 days out. So some kind of way is kind of working its way out 3 days after the 222. So it might be like the 25th, which would be spiritual completion. That's what they're telling me. And you got 2 days right there, the preparation, which is 20, which is about that unity, bringing together with that God force behind it. This is real saturated time for us to anything that we want to bring into fruition, into physical form. We need to start really working that extra because you got extra mojo that's working right behind that. That is helping you out. She bringing me a lamb. Okay. So we got to be like the lamb too, which means we got to listen to the voice. She just brought this and dropped this to me. I don't know what this means. So lambs. So lambs are the ones that listens to the master's voice. That means,
Oh, pork chop
yeah, pork chop.
or lamb chop.
Yeah, lamb chop. So again,
No,
so
lamb chop.
lammy choppy. So you got to make sure that you are again listening to the direction. Be vulnerable. Be open as well and listen to where spirit or your spiritual guides or those things because it's got a Christmas hat on too. Here you go. Take it back, pumpkin pie. Okay. As well. That's interesting. She just dropped it to me like here. And so that's something again to me that will about where we need to be there to go with the flow. Some of the things I know this week, I think when Heidi Life was talking about that, where it's not really we're putting a lot of our own force into things. We're allowing things to kind of like just like she did, just drop it in our lap and say, "Oh, okay, this is where you want me to go next." It was interesting before we had got on there, and I know how my mind before I forget. I was talking about manifestation and
You're muted. She froze. Yes.
Oh, yeah, that's basically what I said and then cackled. You missed the cackling, everyone.
I know
Um,
we missed the cackling.
it turns out it's funny
Up
because
and she's back.
and
I'm
I'm
a
back.
cackler.
My little,
Do you
my
remember
little,
what you were saying? Rewind the
yeah,
tape.
yeah, I remember it because I just stopped to say, hold it, stop, freeze. Everybody clap your hands. Anyway, wait a minute. So it was interesting. I was watching Married at First Sight, and the young man was on the show, and he had one young lady that they had coupled him with. She was not really, you could tell, 100% all in with this marriage thing of being married without seeing him. She had a certain standard that she had wanted. And then when she ended up, she said she didn't want a man with crooked teeth, and he ended up being the man that had crooked teeth. When she came around, she's like, and he smiled. It's like, oh, this ain't gonna work. So she tried to, long story short, she tried to make it seem like she was trying to work with the young man, but she was also gaslighting him at towards the end when they had this where they had the psychologist or the reverend or the minister come and talk to him and try to see can they kind of salvage what has happened between them, and the man said this is my decision day. So in him talking about decision day means that's it, like we getting the divorce, I don't want to keep on going on through this. And we knew that the young lady came in there for her own intentions. You could tell she wanted to be in the spotlight and just wanted a free trip. That's pretty much the short of it, long and short of it. As the man talked some more about it, and you can hear definitely what his underlying heart song was. And he was saying that for him, when it comes to relationships, he wants to work at it. He didn't believe in having something like soulmates or twin flames or anything like that. He believed in that you had to work at the relationship. However, when you think about the show Married at First Sight, it's about meeting your soulmate, taking a chance, letting faith play a part of having people matched up. And I thought that was very interesting how he, in his actions, he thought one way, but in his heart is what I want to work at the relationship. And I told my mom, I was like, then he shouldn't have showed up for the show because the show is about meeting your soulmate, taking a chance, and letting destiny play a part. But in his heart, he wanted to work for having a relationship.
And she's frozen.
You gotta work at keeping that
Okay,
stream,
I
y'all.
don't
It's
know.
just the energies that we have too. It's just
It
us
is. And when we
being
get together,
excited.
it gets really crazy. So, yeah.
It's going to do that on my end. My
I mean,
energy.
we're all super close to our routers, our modems, or
It's
whatever tech
good.
piece
It's
it is.
literally
But
right, like right there. I can reach out and touch it. So the thing is, long and short of it is that we might in our actions say one thing, but in our heart song and our vibrations are saying something totally different. He was telling the universe point blank, I want to work at the relationship. I want to go get this person. I want to make this love or relationship happen. But at the same time, in his actions, he wanted something that again was like a soulmate, kind of let somebody else bring them who they believe that it's supposed to love. And I thought that was interesting to see about we've got to really be specific about what it is in our actions and in our heart, how they actually aligning because they're conflicting. So at the end of the show, he had to divorce the young lady because it wasn't really what his heart had wanted. He wanted to go and get that divine partner. He wanted to go be with that person. And I was like, that is something that we have to really make sure that when we're putting out there, that we're not setting ourselves in self sabotage with the way how we feel and the way of how we either thinking or either physically doing things. So this is important for us to really, we might say we want this thing, but if in our heart we singing a different song, it's gonna go and then you're like, well, I thought they said on the playground, this is manifestation time. Why it didn't come? Then you have to think and check in your heart to say, is this truly in alignment with what I truly want to see manifest? So that's what I wanted to bring up. The other little powers try to stop me, but I still got my lesson out there as to what I wanted to say. All right, I'll pass the mic to
I
him.
actually, I actually had that happen the other day because they have all kinds of stuff out there about getting into union and connecting with your partner, and really checking in with yourself. And as much as I want to say yes, I'm ready, yes, I want it, yes, it's. That's really conceptually because my body is telling me a completely different story. My body is completely conscious and saying, nope, I have a hesitancy in my heart. I'm afraid of being abandoned, or I might get hurt, or you put so much love and affection in so many others. I'm addicted to my storyline. I'm addicted to this little thing that says I got to struggle to do it right. And so, similarly to what she was saying in that show, I went through that process of saying it's okay to not be ready. It's okay to want something and then not actually want it. Like, you're hungry and you're planning, no, no, you ate, you're full, but you're going to plan your next meal. You don't necessarily want to eat it right then, but you like thinking about it. You can have the food in your fridge. Like, we can have that love come into our lives and our space and just not be ready for it, or not actually be authentically in presence to receive it. And so I'm allowing myself to receive more and more in different directions and from different directions. And it's really nice because it allows me to expand that capacity. It allows me to get into that greater receptivity. And that's really what you want to be in alignment with, especially if you're going into manifestation. You don't necessarily need everything right now. Yes, when you were a child, and something about the way society is right now and the ease and comfort, we have this, what do they call that? Entitlement. We feel entitled to having the thing that we want immediately, but that doesn't mean that we're ready or prepared for it. And so you may think, like, even guys, they sit there and they say, "Oh, I want this freak and I want her to be all la 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 la." Like, sometimes you just can't handle that. Like,
Mhm.
you may want that video vixen or whatever, and maybe she's insecure, maybe she has issues, but you're not ready to handle someone that actually has emotional needs. So when you're saying, "I want to be in a relationship," are you ready to be with someone who has emotional needs, or actually put yourself out there and be vulnerable and say, "I have these emotional needs myself," in order to feel supported? It comes in this way. Are you going to talk about love languages and what your future plans are? Or are you going to say, "It just feels nice to be together," which is totally fine, right? There's no wrong about it. It's just about what's right for you and what are you ultimately attempting to cultivate in your life. And it's going to be fun right now because we're doing it. And I was telling the ladies before the show that the 2 February 2nd, uh, 2022 portal opening, right? Because I think it feels like end caps, right? So you get into the concept of, okay, I'm going to create a space. This is what it's going to be. I'm going to manifest this. And kid you not, I feel like I've been totally rocked like a hurricane for the last 2 weeks, shaking every little thing that doesn't work out of the tree. You know what I mean? It's just every unhealthy apple just got shooken off. And now we're finally able to let the bubbles come up. Let's see here. What'd she say? 222 portals bringing some trickery to get us off the path. So I don't know. I don't want to say trickery because ultimately, yes, there is, but I think people lie to themselves first, right? You
Mhm.
want to say to yourself, "Oh, I like this," or "This is my personality," or "This is how it is," but it's helping you refine your desires. Does she say, "Oh, I want a handsome man who will love me," but he turns out to be fucking crazy? Like that's where you're like, "Oh, well, now I have some more requirements," right? It wasn't wasn't necessarily a trick. They wanted to give you love, they just didn't know how, and they had so much damaging. Yes, tests. Yes, I like that, tests and refinement.
Yeah.
And a lot of it
Refinement.
depends on where you are too in your journey and what you've
All right, I'll do this for
and
Thank you.
what now?
now. If you need to point, give me a
Eh,
signal so I can move her back.
Stop it. A lot of it is where you are in your journey and how much you trust yourself. We have to go with our intuition. This is really important when we are in these situations. And one of the reasons that we're only 2 days before the portal, where it's usually 3 to 4, is because we have the new moon. So those are overlapping. So
Oh,
we've got the blessings and the manifestation from the full moon, which was absolutely gorgeous here in Florida. It was huge.
It looked
um
big.
yeah.
and
Must be.
then we so then we only have those 2 days, because if we combined all of that, it would be just crazy. It would be insane. And no matter what you're trying to manifest, they're saying right now, be very specific. Be
Yeah.
very specific. And if you have trouble visualizing it, um do a vision board. If you want a new car, if you want a new job, you want a new house, anything, you have to manifest it, and you have to have, and they're talking about accountability partners. If you've got somebody else that you can manifest with, then you're golden, because then you can speak it in the present, and that helps so much with it. You're speaking it in the present, it's going to happen, you can feel it, and you're not the only one talking to yourself going, I know this is coming, I know this is coming. You actually have that person that's working with you, and you can say, yeah, I feel it, we're doing this, yes, we're doing, and it's just that little bit of confirmation. And we need that positivity. And sometimes we do wind up with being tested, because we don't trust that. We don't trust that when we put it out and we say it and we speak it, that it's going to happen. Sometimes in the back of our head, especially if it is revolving around finances, um, we have a lot of things. I mean, you think about it, we've been told all our lives things like money doesn't grow on trees, or that's not our family, or we can't do that, or um that's just not me. I just never, I guess I wasn't supposed to have money, and
I'm gonna say
those
that
kind
the
of
most
things.
people on this channel have gotten
Hmm.
tested and those confronted within this period of time.
Right.
And you have until Thursday, and it's seriously rocking people. Like every person I know has gone through this period of, we're still in the chrysalis, basically. We're still going into goo, and what is our caterpillar self versus what is our butterfly self, and
True.
actually allowing it to transform. And it
Hmm.
feels really liquid, it feels really molten, and the thing is, it's hyper manifestation. Like I know these two women. I thought I did all right by putting my,
You
anyway, it doesn't matter. Um, they are so quick with the manifestation, and I've seen the manifesting
Mhm.
coming up, and you see it with the slight things like, oh, the words on the show, or the certain things like saying about a cheeseburger, and then suddenly a cheeseburger either comes on TV or somebody walks in with some, or suggests that we have them for dinner. All of these things are coming, and so we're no longer taking those. We're no longer joking with sarcasm. We're no longer joking with that dark humor, because
Hmm.
we understand its power. We're starting to understand our own power, and that's what's beautiful. Is I'm seeing people come into their own power, but also the opposite to be true. Fools are showing themselves to be fools.
Hmm.
Liars are getting caught up in all of their lies,
Mhm.
and that can hurt. Especially if you want that person to be a genuine person, but you realize that within yourself, that maybe you give too much trust or too much consideration to those who don't deserve it. So I think if you're in this show, you are doing what Coffee D has been talking about, and you are being conscious, and you are manifesting, but in a selective way. Because there's no way that you made it to this channel and this show, this far in the show, to not be manifesting at that. Because that's the vibration that we're holding at this point.
Right.
And
True.
sometimes it can feel like we're circling the stuff, and sometimes it feels like the pattern is repeating, but we're actually at a new level.
And we also need to be really mindful of the things that we had manifested a while back, those seeds that had been planted, the things that we had said, that we wanted, or we knew it was going to happen, and we were still in that state of not really trusting what we were doing. She froze again.
Well,
Um,
she looks like it's on point, right? She got something to say.
she does. But we're starting to see these things come in that maybe we said or asked for 6 months. So that's another thing. I know that Benita and I have both have seen that, especially recently, just this week.
So she's saying, look, she's got X's. We got one X's on the tests, and we got two. Her dad popped up after she was thinking about him, which is cool.
Yeah, it can happen. Two things I want to circle back to that you both had said in there about the vision boards. I often my mom, when I watch the YouTube with her, she likes to watch James Van Prague, and after James Van Prague is finished doing, is a lady that comes on. I call it Monday is my inspirational night, where I listen to, again, to help me with the positive, healthy behavior. Mel Robbins, and she brought up a very good point about how to do the visualization, and I've been working with that. She was saying in her, and not knocking, because everybody got a different hustle and flow as to how they can be. With her, she was talking about how vision boards or anything else still makes you in that lack of mentality because you're not actually grasping. So she came up with another thing that she said is much better, and you can try that too as well. And I have been experimenting with it. And that was funny that Sean had brought that up in our therapy class when he was talking about April, and how he was saying out of everybody what we did visualize way better, and you could see in helping in manifestation. And I kind of understood it, but I didn't. I was like, okay, but I fell asleep anyway. So my thing is this: is that there is. She says that you have to be very particular. And she say even particular to when you're thinking about this actual thing that you want to manifest the bad things too. So let's say, for instance, I say about the new job, and I was like, okay, I'm seeing myself going on the website, and I'm looking at different teacher jobs and things like that, and then, okay, do I want to do social science, or do I want to do this? And then I'm keep on visualizing myself. I'm doing the call, and I'm nervous about me doing the calling and asking about they're calling me and telling me they want to interview me, and I'm like, how I'm going to set this up. So I'm doing all the good and the bad, and I'm feeling anxiety, and me talking to them, they interviewing me, and me saying, oh, I didn't do so well, but I know I did, and I get the call. So she's saying do all the good and the bad in your visualization. She said because that way your body and your mind will be able to receive and be prepared for, almost like Jerry Lewis said, the good and the bad part, or the disappointment, or this might do, because it makes it more of reality. She said when you keep
That's awesome.
about it in the good way, like we gonna get together, we gonna get married on the beach, da da da, whatever like that. But you don't miss, like, you know what? I forgot my daggone veil back in Chicago. I be damned. I put that in there. So that way it makes it a reality, a real thing. Like, okay, well, we say forget it. April came and bought me a beautiful flower. She's like, that's all right, Virginia, don't freak out. I got this. I'm gonna make something out of flowers real last minute. So that again is like, again, it's making it a reality. Like, oh yeah, I can see that. So I said that's a good thing for us when we're manifesting. Think about the little things that could go wrong in it too, and that makes it more of a realness. She said some kind of way it tricks your mind when you do it that way. So I would say that was good. And there's one more, because you know how my mind is. Spirit brought to me and said the reason why they bring out what you call the test or the trickery is because I think about when I was in the classroom with my little second graders, and I was teaching them the yoga, and I used to have Cosmic Kids yoga come on. And she used to come up, the young lady Jamie. She says, "I'm not getting into your little tree pose with a little English accent, and I'm gonna come up to you and try to blow you down." And our kids like, she can't blow me down. So the thing is when you do that, life in the universe is bringing you
Wipe
so
your
you
hands off,
get
baby.
more grounded and more rooted in your belief system. It's not a thing that I'm trying to throw you off your square, or I'm trying to throw you off. It's because it makes you more grounded in that belief. So look at it from that more of a positive standpoint. Okay, this is coming. So that lets me know I got to get more grounded in where I am. That's what spirit box. They bring up the three aspects so they'll know that. So next time, Megan, instead of saying that it's some trickery that's trying to do, okay, when it comes, feel the feeling, get pissed. Oh my God, I'm scared. Feel the anxiety, but then shift it out of that and say, okay, what is this trying to learn? What does it want me to become more grounded and rooted in at this point?
Well, and now the other thing with that too, a lot of it depends on what your woundings are,
Right.
on what you're going to play into. If you are known to be a negative person, or before it was everything was always doom and gloom, you have to be careful with that. And there are two different schools on that. One of them is that definitely we want to, where you're talking about like getting our minds or tricking our minds into things. When we find pleasure and things like that in the mundane, like the little things, like this is the best glass of iced tea I've had, or wow, that bagel was really fresh, it was so good, I really enjoyed my collagen coffee, that's fantastic. Then when the big things happen, they're amazing. And sometimes in our lives we just have to look for the amazing and have that faith in it. When you get up every morning and you thank the universe that I am so thankful and so excited to see what miracles are brought to my day today, then they just come and you start seeing them. You have to bring that into you. But like you said, you're working it out in that manifestation, seeing that you have maybe left your veil or left something, but it works out.
Mhm.
Everything's good. It's in control.
Right.
So if it's if you have some control issues and you have to see that it's always working for your best. And that's what we have to remember too. Life isn't working against us. It's working for us. Life doesn't happen to us, it happens for us. So there's always a lesson to be learned in there, but we've got to be able to have that gratitude and show that excitement that, we know you're going to do it. It's just like a little kid playing sports. If you were like, well, Johnny, get out there and give it a good try, and we don't know if you're going to hit anything or not. But if you tell them you're a good batter, you're going to do great at this. This is going to be fantastic. I'm so excited. What are they going to do? They're going to go out there and really give it their all. And that's really what, the universe and the powers that be are waiting to do. They're waiting for us to say, I know you are going to bring me amazing things, and I can't wait to see them. I am so excited. This is what I'd really like to see. This is what we really want. And, but we're open to greater and bigger and more fantastic opportunities. This is, it's not just, let's not just come into major abundance. Let's come into major abundance and be able to help our family. Let's be able to help our friends. Let's be able to enjoy life. Let's be able to go do and see the things that we want to, and relax and enjoy. And those are the kind, we need to build up that. We know it's coming. We know it's coming. We're so thankful it's coming. It's just like, this little lapse in time, it's just not time yet, but it will be. And when it is, it's going to be so much more amazing than we could have ever imagined. And that's where we've got to get that gratitude, and you've got to have that belief. And sometimes, you have to, fake it till you make it. But then once those little things start happening, and I've been saying for months, I've been, thanking the universe for, the miracles every day. And even on the worst days, just one little miracle. That's all I need. Just one little miracle, get me through the day. And, as they start happening, then more start coming in. And then you start seeing the things that maybe earlier wouldn't have been seen as a miracle. You're now starting to see them as a miracle, as a blessing. Boy, I'm glad I was running late. I just missed that big accident. I'm so glad I wasn't prepared because my kids weren't ready for this lesson. And we got to step back and, do things, or it gave, from, in my case, teaching high school, it gave that kid time to come sit and talk to me when he really needed that. He needed that human connection. So it was good that, the paint order hadn't come in yet. And, you have to start seeing those as wonderful things, not as, I put on the wrong shoes, or, I have two different shoes on. So what? Kick your shoes off. Go barefooted. I mean, unless you're in a cold area like Chicago, don't do that. Your feet get cold. But, just making the best of it. And like you said, with the manifestation, but be careful with that, because if you are someone that has like abandonment wounds, you don't want to, excuse me, the dog wants out.
Did you say abandonment?
Abandonment as she runs out the door. But we don't want to play into that. Like you were given the scenario of a wedding, or any kind, and you're waiting at the airport and they never show up. No, you're gonna have trouble flipping that around. Unless it's that you get called over the PA system at the airport to go to another gate, and you get there and there's a private jet waiting for you, and they wanted to surprise you. Then it turns better, but you have to be able to believe what you're manifesting.
Yeah, and
that's kind of.
Oh, hold on 1 second. Let me rebuttal that. Just come back, not rebuttal, but I'm not going against. But I just want to put an ad bit. But like you said, make sure that you do that to show that things. I know how my mind is, and it reels all over again. And I need to see, hey, things can go wrong, but guess what? It can work out in your favor, because my mind needs that, because it's been trained to go the opposite, where it just reels off and it don't have no solution. That's why my mind constantly is looking for solutions, because I need that. And I said, that's a good way to calm my mind and say, hey, when this happened, don't get anxiety disorder about this stuff. Just go on ahead and say, okay, that's fine. Turn it over to April. That's all I want to say.
Okay, I mean, I was just yes-anding, and I was gonna say some of the things you're gonna say, but it's complicated, but it's not, right? You just have to know yourself, and if you know that you have the body, you just have to actually listen. And if the body has resistance, you go into, okay, I know that I have this anticipation or this type of thing that's going to resist this, you can actually work that in with the technique that Sunshine was talking about in terms of, okay, something can be negative, but then it can turn into a benefit. And I'm sure you've had plenty of examples of those in your life, but we often tone down the positive experiences and tone up the negative experiences because we're avoiding pain. But when we do that, we say, okay, I'm actually looking for pain instead of looking for pleasure and looking for enjoyment.
Mhm.
So I
Mhm.
know that sometimes when I picture, sometimes I'm feeling lovey dovey and I can do that whole wedding on the beach and everything's smooth. And sometimes, it's okay. I'm having one of those days. I don't know if I'm 100% lovable, but then my lover sits there and fights for me and says, no, I love you. No, I have the patience to deal with this, just like you have the patience to deal with my dirty socks everywhere. Why did I do that to myself? You see the manifestation properties? But then we have a little machine that comes by and he learns to pick up his socks. And we do it together as a family. Just picking up things, whatever. I'm reeling just to show you how the thoughts can go, how the traveling up and down in terms of where resistance is. Because ultimately, if we didn't have resistance, we would already be there, right? And when we're striving to uh, create another side, right? We're not necessarily filling the gap. We're just walking towards the thing we want. And then there's always going to be more wants. There's always going to be more things that we're creating and manifesting. But the question is, when do we let go of resistance? And the more successes that we see and we acknowledge, and that's what comes with gratitude, right? And I'm thankful I've got this wonderful place to stay. I'm thankful I sleep well at night. We did talk about not sleeping on the show, or was that
Yeah.
pre-show?
Yeah. Not.
That was pre-show.
All of us. There's something about the energies right now, like go go go, and I don't know if it's like the Leo moon or what, but I'm ready to do things in the middle of the night. I think I'm going places, but I got a sleeping baby. I ain't doing nothing but computer work or adding apps to my phone. No, just kidding. But it's been a journey this week, especially with everyone in a space of attempting to go into the heart
Mhm.
with the
Mhm.
and with the Leo full moon's all heart, right? And so everyone, this was a huge gate opening. And I was lucky enough a few weeks ago to have one of these instances that now all the people are talking about on the channels and stuff about how you'll have this opportunity and you'll think you did it wrong or you think something bad happened, but you're going to see right after why exactly it happened.
Mhm.
And it may have take a week, it might have take 2 weeks, but you're gonna find out why you entrusted your instincts, why you trusted your guides, why you trusted God to do what you did in the first place. And when mine came through, it was kind of like a double-edged sword. Sometimes it is a double-edged sword. You think you're getting what you want, you somehow reject that thing, and then you find out, oh, that thing's been playing with you all along, or it's not actually for you, or maybe it's not even ready yet. And are you ready yet? And so it gives you the time to really be free and honest. And a lot of times we say we want things because we think we're supposed to want it. We think we're supposed to be ready. Oh, I want the big family and da 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 da, and I like the car. And it's like, but do you want the payments? Do you want to deal with
Mhm.
the insurances? If you're not willing to have that type of energy, and that it's not a counter pressure, but it is a place that resistance can lie, right? So she, at least she's freezing in cool positions. What can I say?
I know.
That was that was a cool position to
It's better
freeze
than
in. I
some
have
of
to
our
say.
thumbnails where we're all like, "Ah."
I think today's playground is about getting sick on the playground. I'm just kidding. Uh, uh, but
Hello.
when you're being real, like yes, you may want the husband and or the wife and the house and the farmstead and all that stuff, but are you ready to get up every day and do the work for that?
Mhm.
Mhm.
Or can you give that responsibility to someone else, but you think you have to do everything? Can you actually bring on hands that can help you? And what you'll find is you'll say, oh, you're right, I'm not fully ready for this. Oh, you're right, I may need to look into what it feels like to have the pressure. Okay, I'll help you in just a second. In just a second. You want to get juice or coconut water? Which one? So, becoming more aware. It's okay to be refined, and it's okay to change. Like, strike that. I think I want something a little different. Like that interaction I had, that that air quotes on failed relationship. It wasn't supposed to be successful. It was supposed to teach you what you actually desire or deserve to be treated, or in that. How quickly you can pull yourself out of your own resistance to your own pleasure will give you some really great leapholes onto how to bring heaven here on earth, right? Because I think that a lot of people have been living in a mental hellscape, right? And they're sounding off of other people to define who they are, when it's only themselves that can tell them who they are. They may have the physical body, right, like everyone else, but their consciousness and their creation of the soul here on earth in this body requires self reflection, requires patience, requires being in the now. And it's all well and good to go into the fantasy and the creation of the dream and the manifestation process. But it's often we're manifesting when we're not even conscious. And I'm
Mm.
not saying that you have to be conscious all the time. I'm saying you need to train and become aware of your subconscious. And that's really what I feel like this last little bit has been doing, is even when you're in pain, your heart has still been opening to show you what that pain looks like in terms of pleasure. Like I deserve to be spoken to with respect. I deserve to not be gaslighted. That's the opposite. I deserve to be uh, able to communicate with a partner, have them hear me. We don't have to necessarily disagree, right?
Mm.
Because no one's always going to agree with you. And would that even really be fun?
No.
So, if you guys had, it's like, okay, to be frank, like the rhythm during sex, right? If you guys just did the same thing, there would be no friction. And in order for sex to be enjoyable, there is some resistance, there is some friction, but you're expecting that friction. You're working with that friction, and it turns into pleasure. Similar to how Divine Sunshine put it out there with expecting the resistance, knowing that there will be some, and being pleasantly surprised when it's easier than you thought.
Right. True. True.
And on
Mhm.
that, I
And
think we're all manifesting what for Freaky Friday?
well, and Mimi made the comment earlier on that, there was a job opportunity and she didn't know if it was good or bad. And I'll tell you, the one thing you can do, and Mimi, you've been, doing this journey for a long time. So you need to sit with that idea. And if it feels heavy, then it's not right. But if it feels light and exciting, then it is. And your subconscious, your intuition is going to tell you. We just want to second it. We've been taught, unfortunately, before the age of 5, before we went to school. Think about it. As kids, we did everything on intuition.
That's
You know,
true.
we didn't have formal schooling. We weren't born with, negative thoughts in our head. There wasn't one baby that ever said, "Oh, I've got food in my hair. I'm just done with this eating stuff. I'm not going to
I,
do it. It keeps leaking. It's going down my chin."
I'm going to say
So
that
they just do that.
I don't know if that's 100% true. I think that we are born with trauma in our body, and it's
Right. We're
passed
born
down
with
through
trauma.
epigenetic. But I don't think it's our thought
Mhm.
pattern. But if you're in pain, you can have that. If your mother
Well,
is
yeah.
being yelled at because her hormones are going through you, so it's not like you mean to have that. It's not like your consciousness meant to come in birthed with that, but that's also can be part of the cocktail. It's a very
Right,
layered
but it's
cocktail.
the simple things. It's the basic thing. You're not going to have a kid that's just going to, unless there is trauma, there's some kind of mental problem or some kind of um you know yeah, trauma to their thought process. Are they going to be like, I'm not going to walk. Yep. Just get, I'm not going to do it. I'm not going to
Well,
walk. I'm not going to talk. I'm not, overall on in general,
I have a
we,
full on physical disability because my brain says it hurts, don't use it
Mhm.
when I was born from pinching a nerve.
Right.
They're using standard procedure that a midwife said that if they had just massaged it, I wouldn't have this disability. So there's a lot of
Mm.
things that can give you anxiety that were put on, in and on you from so early. So if you're aware that you just have this inherent anxiety or this inherent fear of abandonment and whatnot, just wear it on your sleeve, baby. Because
Mhm.
if you're conscious of it, then you know how to circumvent it. Like if you were in a poverty situation, right, and you're wanting to switch out of that, sometimes you actually have to be uncomfortable to get yourself out of it, which means, oh, I'm restless or I'm trying to find any other excuse than to sit here and learn this material so that I can make better financial decisions. Or, you know what I mean? Sometimes you got to push just past that. But once you get past it, you become super empowered. Like Kathy D's got journaling exercises. You guys go back and watch all that stuff. We have so much good meditations, exercises, like readings, like intuitive stuff going on. There is so much good material in there, especially if you're sitting here trying to find mission, or if you're so busy in a worry wart state. Why not just, because you're already giving your info, you're already wanting input from the universe, why not go back through those, which we teach you how to kind of enclose that so it's just you on yourself. Kathy D has so many good exercises, writing exercises,
yeah,
and you may not want to do it. You may be super resistant, but where you find the resistance is where you're going to learn most of your lessons.
that's the truth. That's the amen to
Well,
that.
there's even a thing with the meditation when you use the Silva praxis, and that you want to be in a slightly uncomfortable situation, because then you don't fall asleep and it keeps you more alert.
Hmm.
There's so many different types of meditation, and so some of it can be very calming, and you're just, you go so deep that sometimes you wind up falling asleep, and that's fine. And then there are other times you need that, just that little bit of uncomfortableness. Maybe you're sitting up a little bit straighter than you usually do, or you're sitting with your legs crossed, or um just different things like that that keep you from going asleep. Because so many people I've heard, will tell me, well, that's all fine and well, but I always fall asleep when I manifest. Well, then you don't beat yourself up for it. You just find a different position to be in when you manifest. And if you're that tired that it doesn't matter if you're standing up or sitting down, you probably just need some sleep, and, try manifesting later.
Hmm.
But, and I think we kind of need that with life. Sometimes we need just that little bit of uncomfortableness. Sometimes we're made to take the scenic route and not the easy route. But
Hmm.
the thing is, the nice thing about the scenic route, no matter how hard it is, at the end of it, the journey was beautiful and the pictures are amazing. And the lessons learned are ones that move you forward and out of this karma that we've been dragging around for who knows how many lifetimes. Because once you got it, baby. You ain't going back. And that's the thing. Once you get it, you got it. And once you start seeing these lessons coming in and coming to fruition, it's so much easier to find that positivity in having to take the scenic route.
Yeah.
I'm telling you, sometimes it feels exhausting. Sometimes it looks very similar to the patterns that you're shaking yourself out of. But give yourself a little bit more time, right? That giant oak tree didn't come overnight or with 6 months of focused meditation. It took years. Now, I'm not saying it's going to take you years, but it's going to take a bit of a process, because, especially if you're in the same location, same area, and you know what, even if you're in a different area, you can still be attracting the similar energies. So you're practicing using your discernment. You're practicing using your inner strength and guidance, and um, your communication skills, right? Because
Mhm.
it's not just a world of us. It's a team. It's a community. And it's the whole ripple effect. We're switching into the golden age, and it's an Aquarian golden age, which means all of us have. It's going to be awesome for everybody. And the thing is, we're if you're not even awesome to yourself, even in your own mind, then you're not prepared to be awesome to anyone else. And often, when you do receive, it's an unbalanced receiving, so it's not as sustainable unless you learn and you work with and communicate with the other person that you're receiving from. I have
Mhm.
complications with receiving. Thank you for your patience. Or, I, I got, what is your love language, right? Who knows their love language? Anybody? Anybody? Who knows their own love language? And it can switch, I think. I
Yeah.
think when you get older, it can
I think it
switch.
does. I think there you have a love language before you're healed, and then after you're healed or awakened
Hmm.
to the higher calling. I think it changes because I think we take and put the ego in the back seat, and a lot of times it is that, especially everybody has different ones, and mine literally went from gifts to experiences. And so I would much rather have a road trip than um, presents,
Hmm.
because that road trip at the end of the day, no matter how old I am, as I sit in my little chair in the twilight times, and the presents are gone or they've faded or they've broken, those memories of that road trip live on, and they'll always be there. And those are the, I've learned those are the gifts. And I think that was a major step from going from an abandonment fear to being able to entrust and say, hey, this year for Christmas, don't get me anything. I'd rather go to the beach. I want to go to the beach with, with my girls. And that was, a lot of people have trouble accepting that, but you have to stand pretty firm on it. If
Yeah.
that's your, if that's your love language, or if it's words of encouragement, or, however it is.
Yeah, I think, like you said, I'm getting the same. Your wounding and your pain body kind of colors your selection, or as to what love language you're speaking at that moment. Because of even childhood wounding or experiences or pains, you might say, well, I as a child, I would go for the child wound aspect. My mother never did encourage me. She always put me down. So of course your love language will be, I need somebody to validate me. I need them to speak the love languages of talking. Now once you get through that wounding, and you've healed from that, on the other side of it, you might say, I don't need that anymore. I don't need anybody to validate me. I don't need those words all the time to make me feel that I'm loved. Maybe it might be just service, just be there, just be supportive. That's my love language. I like you just to be there for me in that way. So according to your wounding and your pain, I think that it helps to also make that help you with that selection of which love language you like to really be utilized in the relationship or in the connection of how you all interact with one person too as well. Let me get this person out of here. Okay.
So what's really cool about the change and the shifting of it is it's okay to actually say yes, and you can add things to the list, right? Because this is just
Oh
one
yeah.
list. And I saw a meme the other day which I thought was really poignant, but consistency being a love language. And it may, and just continuously like showing up in that way, in that openness, in that way, that willingness to connect, that itself alone is worth so much in terms of reassuring, right? Because that's also brings back to the childhood woods. It was that inconsistency, that seeing that your parent was always there except for XYZ. And then as soon as that first one happens, you suddenly can no longer rely or depend upon them. Even
Mhm.
though even though they did show up afterward, the trust can be easily taken away and it never fully comes back. but it changes its forms. And our trust in ourselves, you know, that is something that can be cultivated now. I don't always have to be right, but as long as I know that I trusted my instinct, that's what's gonna really get me. So I think consistency is now one of my top forms of love language. I enjoy time. I'm gonna say all of the above. I'm not gonna say no to nothing. I'm gonna see that I'm gonna see that you're attempting to love me. You know, there's boundaries though, right? And then I also see where my resistance is in receiving certain types of love.
That's a
Right?
good.
Where is your resistance? Do you cringe when somebody gives you a compliment? Or do you try to bat it away? Or do you say, are you trying to hurt me with your compliment? Are you attacking me? Sometimes people get offended over certain things, and it's interesting to find where that is. I often find that people like to associate ego with being self-confident or
Mhm.
overly confident and things like that, but it can also come in being underconfident or hiding yourself away. These are also egoic forms. Oh, I'm just being humble. It's like actually you're avoiding connection and you're refusing to receive love, you know? And it's okay to see that and acknowledge that. I enjoy the fact that I'm okay with being wrong. It doesn't offend me.
Mm-hmm.
Mhm.
But
Yep.
I just do not I do not enjoy being lied to at all.
Oh no.
You can lie to yourself, but do not lie to me. Do not waste my energy like that.
Yeah. Uh-uh. That's not a trip that I wish to take with you. Take that trip on your own. That's a solo
And
dose.
it's interesting because some people are taught to lie as a love language.
Oh wow, Raphael, I'm like, yup.
I was like, what?
Well, now.
That was a yup. He's like, yeah. I didn't know that. Expound on that.
So let's say their mother or someone, father around them, consistently lied to make everyone happy. They consistently kept saying, "Yes, I'll be there," or "Yeah, that looks great on you," and it totally doesn't, or
Okay.
it makes your mother happy if you do that. Or I remember one person I knew, their mother taught them to steal and said, "You steal to make so and so happy because we can't afford that. So you steal that, and that will make them happy."
Oh
And
wow.
so now they're still dealing with that dichotomy of, well, I steal, it makes people happy. I can, you know what I mean? Even if
Mm.
it's not accurate, it's
Mhm.
still a belief within them that they actually have to kind of struggle with.
Oh wow.
And so
Hmm.
it was really interesting that the mother taught that to the child because there was a young mother,
Mm-hmm.
and she taught that to the children, and it was like not okay, but they did it for survival, and now it comes naturally. So we're trying to merge into this new way of being, this new heaven on earth. We 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 need to allow there to be room for people to show who they are, not judge them and assume that they are a certain way just because they come off a certain way.
Okay.
Let their character speak for them. Maybe they just got a few flaws that you don't have to tolerate. I'm not saying you have to tolerate their flaws, but just being able to point that out to them and say that certain the behaviors are not okay. They don't fly here. Or, yeah, I know you think that you're help making me feel better by lying to me and say you're going to meet me there, but I will be even more disappointed if I'm left alone, right? Because that's abandonment
Right.
and that triggers me. But how conscious do you have to be able to have that conversation?
Right.
Mm-hmm.
And for that person to be kind of mature and ready to receive that, to understand not to take that personally unless they're in their pain body and they receive it that way. But yeah, that's a good one for that. And you know, right now, we're at, and I think we talked about that earlier, where we really are kind of like really separating these things that really no longer, some of this stuff in relationships or even connections that we have, we can't continue to tolerate and say the bull s, the bull stuff as well. And so that's something again that we might even find ourselves that really say, oh, that's kind of rubbed me the wrong way. I can't keep on continually doing this and not being truthfully being aligned in my space to accept that. I mean, that might be their language if you say that about that, but you might find something within you that might say, I can't continue. That's not really the language that I speak, or I can kind of get with it. And I mean, everything when you talk about languages, it has a light and a shadow. I always say that to it, and it might be a way that the person might be using that love language in a way that's not healthy to you. They might make you go into your own distortion too. So again, we have to watch that as well, as far as is that really helping you to stand in your truth, in your authority, with the way that that person might be utilizing that love language. And then that goes back to what April said a little bit earlier. You might be finding yourself saying time out, flag on the field, like for the Super Bowl, and say, okay, I might need to go over to the bench and rethink about this. Maybe I might be looking at this differently, or this might not just be a fit for right now. Maybe I need to kind of go and redo, strategize some things. So we need to be able to really get with this love language that you actually talk about, because maybe I need some more classes. Maybe I need to go look and see how I can be able to even cater to you in this love language. And that goes back to April, what you're saying, and that's where I'm at too. It's like, okay, that's all right. If you need to call time out on that and go research and see how you can maybe be able to fulfill that better, then do so at that time. Don't force something you like. This don't feel comfortable because I. And that goes back to at the beginning of the show about that guy, the way the things that we're talking and when she was talking and when he was talking, it's like we're not meeting anywhere in the middle. So when it comes to that, rather that's in a relationship or a place that you're in right now, Spirit wants you to really truly get yourself in alignment where you are in that preparing for this dimensional, this fifth D that we're in, which is here now, which is really living the life that really truly aligns with our heart. We might even find ourselves saying, you know what, no, I can't even speak that language, or no, I can't even be in that. That does not resonate with my energies at this time. So that's another perspective to kind of look at too, as well, to see, again, are you ready for it? Is it something that I need to kind of recap and look and maybe get help with? Maybe also saying, you know what, I'm not ready for that too as well. So that's kind of, I'm doing this as a nice circle to say to wrap it up and put it right back at the beginning as well. So is there anything, it's time for community time. Is there anything that we have that we would like to start, starting with April? Because I know she's got that brand spanking Chris turning page, turning virtual turning page book that she has. It's a living book that she's always adding on to it, and right now she's got a good basis for us to help us, especially with manifestation, clearing through the womb space, through the yoni as well. So explain how that might can help us with these times too as
Okay,
well.
so I'll do a roundabout story that might be, I'm pretty sure it's in my book, but how I used to do sweat lodges a lot, right? Lakota style sweat lodges. And they say that the sweat lodge itself, it mirrors the cosmos, it mirrors the womb, where it forms and creates this space where you can go and commune with the universe. You can pray, you can create, and you pray for yourself and others. But if it's mirroring the womb, I was always told that women didn't have to do sweat, or were not, they did not do sweat lodges in the beginning, but then they started doing it because we have our society's changed. But women, because they carry the womb, they carry the cosmos, they carry the cosmic energy, the creation. And so I often use and highly recommend yoni steaming as a way to not only connect with your body and allow your body to have a louder voice, but to really get into the alchemy of creation and manifestation and forgiving, like deep, deep, deep release of trauma, calming the nervous system, starting to regulate and balance the hormones. And it's a great way to align your body to the frequency of your manifestation that you want to create. And it
Mhm.
puts you in a state that lets you really connect with your intuition so that you can actually step into that alignment much faster. And it's almost like a physical agreement, because I know I talk about it often on the show. You can feel the resistance in your body. Whenever something comes up, whether it be a topic or even a phrase or a word, money, the bigger trigger words, we can
Mhm.
shift and create a space where we actually enjoy and understand and use that resistance to create harmony, use
Mm-hmm.
that resistance to counterbalance, and the yoni steaming really brings that forth. And so when you purchase the book, you actually get a how to yoni steam document and a printable shorthand. I'm working on the herbs list right now, but to keep it simple, you can use one herb. You're not trying to burn your body or anything. It's just using that plant medicine in a softer way than empirical medicine to use nature and connect with nature to actually balance your system. So I highly suggest it. Everyone check out my website and purchase a book. I also have a Kajabi platform that I'll send you where you have unlimited downloads of the book and the meditations that are coming soon and all the other things that are coming in alignment. And this Tuesday on the 22nd at 3:33 p.m. Hawaiian Standard Time, because everybody's got a different time. Our time doesn't change. We don't even have to go ahead or back or anything. So Hawaii, the time stays the same. So 3:33 p.m. I'm going to be doing a live group Yoni Steam. It'll be on my channel, the Golden Life Unlimited. That's my YouTube channel. So the name you see under here, it's my YouTube. You can also check out my Instagram. I'm going to try to double stream it on Insta, YouTube. If I can triple steam it on Facebook, I will. You do not have to have the Steam set up. It would be ideal if you did, but you don't need it. You can actually just use your hands and put them over your womb, and we'll work with the energies. And I will show you how, because if you've looked at any of those meditations and stuff, like I say, reference those old materials, I can get you in line. I can get you in that energy field, and we can start to really alchemize and create a space for our own self care and our own self healing. And so I think I'm going to be focusing on releasing trauma,
Mhm.
because once we let go of that, we're going to be so much freer come this other side of the portal. And the portal is a window. I know that everyone says time is finite, but it's a fluid dynamic. It's constantly changing and shifting. And since we're working in multiple timelines and multiple dimensions and all of these beautiful cosmic pieces, anytime you go back and watch it, whether you're able to catch it live or not, you're still going to feel the energy and you're still going to have the shifts if that's what you want to create for yourself. So mark your calendar, 222 at 3:33 p.m. Eastern. What am I saying? Hawaii
Hawaiian
Standard Time.
time.
It is Hawaii Standard Time. And I'm out. And she's out too. Frozen. Oh no, no. But I think you'll really enjoy it. Kathy D, yawning
Just
right next to me.
still working on the relaunch and the changing the name and everything. So going from Pineapple Fish Life Coaching to Pineapple Fish Wellness, taking it a little more from the life coaching platform to the Hypno Reiki. Um, so just kind of doing some of those changes. Life coaching will still be available, but it's not going to be my main focus. So that's kind of where we're going with that. Um, just trying to find the time to get it all done, but we're working on that. So, I guess as always, it's time for everybody to dump their virtual sand out of their virtual shoes and socks. Make sure that you get your own bucket and you leave the playground cleaner than you found it. And we're wishing you your best life ever. See you real soon.
Yes. And for me, just real quick, I'm still doing the DM love letters too. So if you do want that, you can go ahead and go to divineunisoulslove.co too as well. I write it in. And if you want a past life regression session too, I'm open for that too at AshantiWellnessCenter.com as well. All right, go on. Hit it, April.
Stay blessed, stay golden, and remember, you were made for this golden life.